brought to you by
Fleet Feet today?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They offer 100% off at your next. No.
Let's see.
Ooh, we should have talked about that.
2, 1. Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Restoring Human podcast, where we believe humans were designed to flourish. Unfortunately, through many modern conveniences, our ability to thrive has been limited, but through intentional lifestyle decisions, we believe we can return to an optimal state of health. I'm your host, Jarek Bakken,
I'm Dr. Alex Aguela.
and we are joined today by the one and only Fleet Feet's Phil Young.
Wow, the crowd goes wild.
That does go wild.
Yes.
So we are coming at you today from the Quad City Strength Expo, I believe.
Strength and fitness.
Strength and Fitness
yeah,
Expo down at the River Center here in Davenport. And today we are brought to you by Fleet Feet Sports of Davenport.
Yes.
If you need a new pair of shoes to run or fitness or lift or walk,
You
any type of activity, Fleet Feet is definitely the spot in the Quad Cities to
One of these things.
go
Three,
to.
four to do one of those.
As well
of
as
these things.
mobility tools, phenomenal custom T-shirts.
Yeah.
They've got all the hookups. So, Phil, thanks for joining us today.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
Very fun.
So one of our kind of key pillars that we say is just a foundation of being human, and especially being a healthy human, is movement.
You bet.
And one of the most primal of activities humans do is
Video games.
yes,
Absolutely.
Since the beginning.
moving your body fast with your legs.
You bet.
We call that running.
Move thumbs fast, right?
Huh? You got to talk closer to your mic. Raise it up or something. Phil, why don't you tell us just a little bit about your history with getting into running? Why? Like, I'll be honest, I don't like running.
Sure.
Why do you like it so much?
Gosh, I mean, so we're down here at the River Center, right? A nice expo center, Davenport. The Big 7 is a big road race next weekend, 7 miles through the streets of Davenport. I think that's kind of where running began for me, watching my parents run the Bix, watching the Bix with my parents, and just seeing the spectacle, the event. It was kind of where my interests were peaked from a young age. I started to realize that becoming Michael Jordan was becoming less and less realistic.
You might have the size.
I've still got time. I'm 31. He came back at 35. I don't know. So anyway, I discovered that I was good at running, and so that I like to do things I'm good at. So that's where some of it started as a youth. But I think it was my college years when I really started to kind of passionately pursue the activity. For me, I wanted to compete collegiately and didn't really get that opportunity, and so there was some unhealthy, probably, bitterness and attitude towards kind of the sport, and so trying to run maybe for different reasons. But I started to train and just enjoy my time out on the roads or on the trails. For me, it became very communal. A lot of my deeper, more meaningful relationships are with people that I get to go run with.
Yeah.
And I'll also say, not in the bad sense of the word, but even a lot of my more superficial surface relationships casually are with other runners. So I love the running community, but I just love, the physical and mental benefits of being able to run with consistency, pain-free, the way in which I'd want to, at the speeds that I'd want to. I just feel a little bit in control of my fitness, but I just love the benefits. And I love the way I feel after most runs.
Yeah.
Usually during. There's some runs that you push through, but and don't enjoy. But getting out there, man, on the trails, on the road, local running events. I love most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So will you be doing the Bix?
I will be running the Bix. Yeah, we'll see. This will be like number 18 or 19.
Holy
so
world.
there's not a lot of things in my life
Wait,
that I've done.
what?
Yeah, man. Count it up. So I ran my first Bix with my mom, Donna Young, Isabel Bloom. Check them out. That was free. And gosh, yeah, I ran the first 6 miles with her. I was 10 or 11. And then she let me go at the top of Brady Street Hill and said, go ahead. And I ripped down the hill. That was the closest my mom ever got to beating me in a race. No, so yeah, that was my first time. And then, man, I've missed it 4 times, and it was during college.
Yeah.
But I'll always be around.
Nice.
Wow, that's awesome.
So
Yeah.
I've been here my entire life, but have never ran the Bix. And I don't know why.
This is the year.
This is not.
You've got 6 days. You've got 6 days.
6 days.
We can run 1
Here-
mile tomorrow, 2 the next day.
There you go.
It's gradual.
The math.
Here was always
does
my
it.
plan, was to try to sneak up to the front
Yes.
and just dead sprint at
Yes.
the beginning to
Listen,
try to be in the lead for a second.
Listen,
but
I know-
they
Bro.
would all probably
Dude.
smoke me even on the sprint.
Bro, I've heard a story about somebody in this circle here.
Oh yeah, there's good. It's happened. People have done that.
Yeah.
Like, for real though, did you not do that?
No, so I've got a really close buddy who did it like
Okay,
3 years in
okay.
a row. Last year, maybe the most meaningful thing in regards to running up where you don't belong. There's a picture in the Quad City Times of me and then the top 4 female Kenyan athletes, and I'm like towering over them from behind. And they're all coming up here like to my nipples, just about ready to destroy me. I think they all beat me by like 3 or 4 minutes, but for a minute there, I was a part of the group, man.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's so cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so at some point you made a shift from competitive running to kind of the direction that led you to where you're at right now,
Sure.
owning a running store. What happened there?
Yeah, so college was kind of a bit of a journey for me. I didn't really have strong ambitions towards a career. I wanted to have one. I just didn't know which. It's important to clarify. Driven, just not in any direction. So I started working retail after college in a sporting goods store, and that quickly turned into a management role in athletic footwear. And that's where I think I started to enjoy working with customers, talking with them about their goals, about their injury issues or how well things are going, but just kind of digging in deeper with people, helping provide them with a resource that they're already kind of seeking out. And then on the whole business management side of things, I actually discovered a bit of a passion for that, for the numbers.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, too, it was that helps make that running community that I talked about. I mean, it's pretty cohesive when I'm the guy at the store who gets to talk with you and maybe help you find the right gear choice, and then we can see each other Saturday at the local 5K. Maybe we train together once a week on a run. That really for me was it just made sense, like the community aspect of that.
Gratifying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and getting to do. I don't have a lot of like different areas of my life. Like a lot of it's all pretty cohesive.
Sure.
My career, my play time, like they're all pretty related. So yeah, that it went from working in a bigger box retail environment to a specialty running store for about 4 years and in some different management roles, and then kind of was in a discernment process, just recognizing that we had a passion for owning a store of our own and creating a community and a thriving community of fitness, and so we felt like coming back to Davenport was the thing to do, and it's been about 18 months now, and we're loving it.
Yeah, it's cool. Very cool. So, we've got a number of questions from listeners, and I think I'm just going to intermix these in here a little bit.
Perfect.
So, with getting into kind of the business of running, you kind of had to get into a little more of kind of problem solving, troubleshooting, and part of that is kind of how the body is designed to run and how footwear plays into that, right?
Yep.
So one of our questions from a listener was, I don't remember when she said she did it, but she came into the store and her and her husband found out that they'd been wearing shoes that were too small for them for years.
Sure.
And now they've got all these shoes that are way too small, and they've got a big problem that they probably need to come back to you and replenish their stock. But can you talk to us a little bit about how footwear plays into kind of, how the human body and the foot is designed to run?
You bet. And that's a big, that's a robust topic.
Fly over.
Yeah. So here's the 20,000 feet. Uniquely for me, we're most commonly, like, we sell shoes, right? So, and in I would say most situations, a piece of running footwear for most consumers is a bit of a reaction. It's a reaction to here's how I'm shaped, or here's how things feel, or here's the way that I move right now, and how can we pair a shoe, a piece of footwear, with my mechanics to make it not hurt and to make it enjoyable. And so that's what we're doing with great frequency. However, there's this great educational component that we love to interject as often as we can. And not that a shoe shouldn't be necessary if mechanics and everything were beautiful and perfect, but there is a if we're going to pick injured runner number A, that's a letter, by the way. That we can address those things in my setting. We can address those things with footwear, potentially with insoles. Maybe it's shin pain, and we can play around with massage or compression or some things to kind of treat. But from a preventative standpoint, speaking of running, there's a lot of things in regards to mechanics, right, that can make a much bigger difference than a shoe, which could potentially be viewed as a bit of a Band-Aid. In your intro, you mentioned the modern conveniences that are kind of getting in the way of human flourishment. There is a great dependency on running footwear for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So much so that if the right shoe is not available, so someone becomes dependent on this model in this size, this year's edition, and next year it gets changed a little bit, and now it's over, right? Nothing fits the same, nothing feels right, and I'm saying this has been some people's experience. Anyway, so I'm trying to fit people for what they perceive they need, but then also educate on, there's potential that you could get along in something different. There's potential that this shoe is not the only solution. I think we still need to use this as a solution, but gosh, let's work on our cadence. Let's work on our posture. Let's pay attention to where we strike the ground. Let's not increase our mileage by 40% from 1 week to week 2. So there are training principles of biomechanics, nutrition. There are so many things that can help the runner. If the runner's goal is to be as pain-free as possible and to have longevity in their activity, shoes are a huge part of that. For some people, they luck out and shoes are really the only thing they have to care about, right? But a lot of people need a more comprehensive, cohesive solution.
Yeah.
And so we like to engage in those conversations. And, I've kind of traveled that path in my own running, being a often injured athlete, to finding a way to produce the results I want and be efficient and stay healthy and not be as dependent upon product. Again, all the while we're selling products.
Yeah, so I've heard you say before, I can run in any shoe, but something I heard kind of intermixed in there was this whole fact that a big part of what you're doing is trying to make running accessible for people.
You bet.
And so if it needs to start with, we kind of get this like low-hanging fruit, give you what you need to start moving.
You bet.
That can be a starting point.
Yep.
While it may not be perfect, while it may not be the ideal, while you might be compensating for kind of a lack of how your body should be running.
Sure.
like this is a good first step.
You bet. I mean, two situations specifically this week in the store. A cohort of mine, Michelle, and myself also. Two real specific circumstances where we had a customer either come back in the store or leaving the store after spending an hour with us. Hugs, in tears. I mean, that stuff is meaningful.
Yeah.
When you can come in, and there's no magic, but we've had people enter the store visibly frustrated with the pain that they're in, right? And again, there are so many different avenues to help restore, a status of no foot pain or less pain or the rest of the body. But people come in foot pain, and I can get them to leave feeling optimistic or hopeful, seeing some of that pain go away, but feeling like they have a tool to help them get to the place they want to go. I don't have to interject. Well, your cadence should be at 180, and you really need to be running barefoot, because that's the way we were designed. Man, if I can get you to feel optimistic and have hope, and be able to do more than you could do yesterday, like you said, that's not a concession on my part. I'm happy for that to be the solution. But if people are, if I see that there's a place where we can add value by educating beyond, these are the shoes you have to have. We love to educate because it's crucial, and it's not static. You can, this could be the shoe for Jarek right now, and everything's going great, and then seemingly to the consumer, at the drop of a hat, things can change. You can be injured, you can think the shoes suck, you can be in pain, you can need a new solution, and so it's not. We have people come in and say, "Hey, I just need a new pair of these," and I say, "Sit down. Like, we're going to talk, we're going to measure, we're going to reassess. I want to know what you're doing, what you've been doing, where we're going."
Yeah, that's where my question comes in. So what is when somebody comes in, just walks in your store, what's the process look like that you're taking them through?
Totally. It can be different circumstantially, but most often people come in looking for footwear, right? I need new running shoes, or I'm looking for a new pair of shoes is usually the comment, and then I'll ask, what are you using them for? And people will put up a defense and say, well, I'm not a runner. I run 3 miles a day 5 times a week. I'm not a runner. So there's some intimidation. People put up these.
A lot of running.
I know. It's incredible. People, go ahead, feel free. I give you the permission. Self-identify as a runner. If you move, you can be a runner. So we're coming in and we're starting that conversation. On our end with my staff, we kind of call it the interview. So we are going to ask questions to find out what you think you need. What you're hoping to leave with, what your experience has been. So why are you in here? This is good, man. We got Snapchat, we got everything happening today. So you come into the store and you perceive that you need footwear because why? Because you're going to start a regimen, because you're in pain, because your current shoes are worn out. So I need to find out what your why is. We're going to sit down, talk a little bit more, find out if there's something additional you're hoping to accomplish. So, yeah, I'm looking for new shoes, but actually I like mine. I wish they were a little lighter weight, or I feel beat up later in the run, or my toenails falling off. Okay, so those things are important, right? So we're gonna prod and dig and make sure I have all the information we need. We're gonna take some barefooted measurements, looking at heel to toe length, arch length, the width of the foot at its widest point, the height of the arch. We'll do some weighted and unweighted measurements to see change in kind of the strength of your systems, kind of from the waist down, and that you can probably speak to that even more than I could. We'll do some walking, which is in a vacuum. Walking in the store is not running down Brady Street Hill, but it is relevant. It's relevant information for how I could help you find a shoe that pairs up well with your body. So we're going to look at all those things. I'm going to ask you a couple more questions about preferences, and then we'll pull. People don't often shop our shoe selection. I'm shopping it. I'm going to get that information. I'm going to bring you. I'm going to set you up to succeed, and then you're going to shop. You're going to test this product. You're going to put it on. You're going to go outside and run. You're going to get on the treadmill. We're going to figure it out together.
Yeah. So first point here, Amazon doesn't do any of that stuff for you, folks.
This is true.
But
I don't know too many places that do that. type of stuff.
yeah. So, from experience, my wife and I came in one day. She was looking for a certain pair of shoes, and so she knew what she was looking at, and she said, "I'd like to try these out." She goes, she goes, I need a 7, and I think it was Haley.
Yeah.
She goes, "Okay, well we'll check and make sure."
Yeah.
And it's like, not like saying that's great that you kind of have an idea, but that's possibly subjective, or
Yeah.
I've got this. I don't know what that thing is called.
The Brannick device.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's fun about that is, a lot of times we'll get some raised eyebrows when we maybe bring footwear out, and the consumer would say, "Oh, what size are those?" And I would say, "Well, they're 10.5."
They're your size.
She says, "Oh my, yeah, they're perfect for you." That we have zero agenda from a size component.
Sure.
Except that it would fit you in an optimal fashion. I want the user to be comfortable in the shoe, to be able for their foot to function, for the toes to display, for as much of a natural mechanic to be achieved inside of this footwear. And there's a lot of people wearing a shoe that their foot fits into, but the shoe does not fit them. And those are different.
Wow, that's a good statement right there.
Yeah, you put that on a shirt.
You could.
So you're not just trying to sell the 9s because you only have one pair of 9s left?
No way.
Or, talking about business, or the ones with the most profit.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah. That's cool. Okay. Oh, while I pull up a very specific question.
Yes.
Do your thing. One of the questions from a very familiar face listener I won't mention. You can go on Facebook and look at it. This question was, what is the optimal number of toes per foot?
Oh, yes.
Asking for a friend.
This is a trick question.
So we do have one really good question from a listener here.
Yeah.
I got a question before you pull that up.
Yeah.
There we go.
What are some of the symptoms? So, like, if somebody wants to be a runner and they're just trying to, add miles to their week or whatever, but things start to hurt, like, what are some of the common things that are happening that you would say it's probably the shoe, or is that not something that you can go to right away? Like, if you have to get a kind of evaluation of fully.
Sure. So I would, it's a really good question, and to kind of repeat it in the way that I'll answer it, I think there are problems that the shoe can be causing.
Yeah.
Then there are problems that the shoe could help address.
Yeah.
That probably still are being caused by something else, So those, and most of the time I'm maybe not making that distinction with a customer, because most people don't care. They just want to feel good, but we'll educate when we can. But I'd say the most common things that are like, give me 5 minutes, we'll make a quick switch and send you out the way in a more optimal shoe. The most common things there would be feet falling asleep, my toes go numb 2 miles in. Make sure you say something about that. Losing toenails. A lot of people, there's a lot of people who've run maybe 2 or 3 half marathons that are really getting into, really like running, and I lose some toenails, but I'm a runner, right? No, no. Let's fix that. You probably shouldn't have to do that. You probably shouldn't have to lose your toenails. Some folks do, but no, it's usually ill fit. So, foot numbness, falling asleep, toenails, extreme blistering in certain spots. My toes are kind of blistered up right now, but I've kind of found I'm not just tolerating it. It's at a fine level. There's this baseline for me that it does not bother me. I'm not putting up with it because I think it's part of the territory. They're just there. Gosh, let's see. Arch pain. That's a very big topic, and it can be coming from all kinds of different areas. But it could be created by a shoe that's too small or too firm, or not firm enough.
Yeah.
It can be addressed with the shoe.
So would you say things like knee issues, hip issues, that's more mechanics than
Yeah,
shoe?
but a quick, easy one, for instance, if a consumer has medial knee pain, You know, it's bilateral, both sides, and it's on the inside. Maybe there's some medial shin pain as well. I mean, it's probably a hip strength issue. There's probably some imbalance, but it very well could be addressed quickly by a shoe that has more medial stability. So a firmer durometer, that's a fancy word. Put that one, ding. You know, firmer support on the inside of the shoe underneath the arch to help slow down that body's tendency to want to slam in towards the midline. We can slow that down, maybe reduce some inflammation or the propensity to move towards strain. Yeah. But I would say, you know, that's it's complicated.
Sure, sure. So I know that, and I think we agree here. I think ideally for us, we're aiming at walking around in something that is as close to the way your foot is designed as possible. Meaning, get something under your foot to protect you from stepping on hard and sharp things.
Yep.
But other than that, let's try not to change the way that your foot hits the ground.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, so there's, and what's interesting is, and this is not new, I think we're in our 20s and 30s and we feel like everything we experience is the first time it's happened, but like 6 or 7 years ago it was barefoot running.
Right.
Take off your shoes, run, be free, you know, and that, there's some great truth there, right? But if you swing too far over here, it's danger.
Well, and especially it depends where you're coming from.
Yes, yes. I'm always hurt and I wear, you know, giant spaceship shoes. Take them off, run barefoot? No, you know, let's not do that.
Yeah.
So there's run barefoot, and then there's, you know, honestly, there's an entire industry that is, you know, custom orthotics. Let's treat the symptoms rather than the problem, and we don't need to get in a bigger discussion about that. But I hurt, so okay, stop moving, stop wearing flip-flops, stop walking barefoot in the house. You've got to put all these things on to help try, and it just, my opinion generally is that can kind of, where you probably shouldn't run barefoot on the pavement, you probably shouldn't cast your foot and teach it to not be strong.
Right.
And so where I can kind of land in the middle is, look, we're going to have to address some things with the product and with the shape. And then on the other side, like, it sure would be nice if you were efficient and to not need all this stuff. So we kind of hang out here in the middle where I can be kind of all things to all people in that situation. But yeah, it is, you know, my desire, and the comment you made earlier about Phil Young being able to run in almost any shoe, I understand the product, right? So it's not super fair. I could go into any store and look at something quickly and put it on and decide this will work for me.
Yeah.
But it's because I've studied and worked on having a fairly efficient gait or mechanic to where I'm not engaging, 80% of the shoe, or depending on most of it. So it's a placeholder, you know. It's something between me and the pavement, but it's not a deal breaker.
Speaking of that jargon,
look at all this,
right?
Yeah.
We had one question. I don't know if this was serious or not, but it was probably on my personal one. Your wife asked a question. I'll find it, but this first one, this might take a little bit. So
we probably only have about 10 minutes here.
Okay, we'll answer this one because this is a really good question.
Yep.
Okay. Question from a listener. At 26, I have been diagnosed with plantar fasciitis, tarsal tunnel. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I guess carpal tunnel is metacarpal, so this must be metatarsals.
And have scar tissue buildup on the bottom of my feet. I wear a brace at night to sleep in. I've been doing physical therapy now for over a year and custom inserts for the shoes I wear daily. I went from running 6+ miles several days a week to not being able to run at all. What else can I do to get better? What is a realistic expectation and prognosis for me as far as running goes? So this might be for both of you guys.
Totally.
Go ahead.
So first of all, I'm frustrated for you. Whoever you are out there. We can figure this out. There's nothing, you know, there's days where I don't want to go out and run, but there's nothing worse for me than not being able to go.
Yeah.
And then I appreciate the activity very quickly, the ability to go do it. So, man, I would say that plantar fasciitis is about 2 out of 3 customers. We end up using that language in the store.
Sure.
And it's usually the consumer using it, telling me that that's what's going on. A lot of that is WebMD and self-diagnosis, and it's crazy. But it sounds like we're seeing a professional here, and we've discovered that this is kind of what's going on. And briefly, you know, plantar fasciitis, it's become a little bit of a junk drawer of a term, and sometimes inappropriately so. But you know, the fascia underneath the tendons of the foot that run, I mean, we're talking about Achilles tendon all the way to the heel, but heel up into the metatarsals. It's this fascia, this sheath, you know, tearing, right? Small little micro tears, and then it creates these sharp pains and can calcify and turn into a heel spur. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I just hit my steps goal and I didn't take a step. Technology, fireworks. So I'm moving a little bit. So I mean, I would say, listen, you were running 6 miles a day, and I would say that without being able to see any of this, ask more questions about what shoes, how they're fitting, look at things, touch and feel. My assumption would be that running for this user was under a circumstance that was maybe a ticking time bomb.
Okay.
You know, so things maybe seemed like they were going okay because on the surface that you had a shoe that was functioning, running felt pretty good. At 6 miles a day, you're doing it. You're a runner, and you're doing a lot of it. And then now we can't go at all. And it sounds like the things that this person's being told is, you know, we're in a night splint, so we've got the foot dorsiflexed, and we're basically treating these tendons so that when you wake up, everything's not boom and hurts real bad on those first steps, and providing some relief. And then we're not wearing sandals, and we're wearing these orthotics in every shoe, and so we're trying to give shape to an area that's maybe been weak and not had a lot of shape.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, quickly, potentially an inefficient running mechanic that's heel-driven out in front of your center of mass, it asks all the systems of the body to do a lot of work at impact, right? There's a lot of impact. And so you can put a shoe underneath that and try to call attention to the way your body wants to move when you strike inefficiently. Again, I'm making suppositions. But then, here we go, 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, and all of a sudden, you know, whatever happened, and now we're in pain. And so now, you know, some folks are saying, well, you got to stop. You got to stop not wearing shoes. You got to always wear this thing. You got to always sleep in this thing. And I think recovery and being kind of restored to, you know, status quo or back to like, okay, I can't run, but I'm not in pain. That's important. And those tools are very valuable. But I think moving forward, you can't, we probably can't do the same mechanics, same shoes, and just hope that this isn't going to happen again. I think there's education to do in regards to posture and then the way that one runs, and then there may be a footwear change. Gosh, I would love if this situation was come in and we just discovered your shoes are a size and a half too small and your toes haven't been able to work for 7 years. That would be great, you know.
Sure.
Let's make a change. So I mean, what's a, you know, she asked about like what could she realistically hope?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we can only do so much in the store, but I think it's come in and let's dig in, because there may be a pretty quick change to make in product and some you know, 2 or 3 principles to consider when re-engaging the activity of running, and then maybe you can run with health for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have much more to add to that, because like you said, it sounds like she has seen some professionals, so hopefully she's getting the correct diagnosis and the correct treatment. But unfortunately, like we've always talked about, kind of how the healthcare system works is they see a symptom and they figure out how can we get rid of this symptom, which you kind of already referred to. So there probably hasn't been much of what led to this in the first place.
Right.
You know, what could we have maybe looked at, you know, far before this actually happened to make sure it doesn't happen. So I would definitely get with somebody like Phil, who can kind of look at mechanics, look at the shoe, look at, you know, just measuring your feet just to see what all that is there. The only other thing that maybe I would recommend is, from a nutritional standpoint, just making sure that she is staying away from anything that's inflammatory.
Yeah. Yep.
So as she's trying to heal, if she's from her nutrition, if she's eating things that are just going to make chronic inflammation in her body, like that's not going to help the foot at all.
Right.
You know, even if she's doing all these other modalities to try to decrease inflammation in that specific area, like she's just working against herself if she is eating inflammatory. So that's just kind of a basic health recommendation that can help that specific thing. Maybe something she could try is, like, if she is in a ton of pain, instead of going to something like an ibuprofen or some sort of anti-inflammatory, finding some systemic enzymes. So the most popular one is called WOB enzyme. That just kind of helps to modulate inflammation. It'll also help to kind of get rid of some of that fibrotic tissue that's developing. So that's something that she could also look into.
Cool.
Something I would just to talk around this specific conversation. A valuable resource we do have in town, because we work pretty closely with a lot of the medical professionals in the area, right? Receiving referrals, kind of working on both sides of a customer. So, hey, how's it going in therapy? Hey, what are we doing with shoes?
Yeah.
We've got some incredible physical therapists in town that understand this, specifically for the runner. The runner wants to run.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to be told, take 8 weeks off, never do it again,
Right.
stop going. So, there are some educated, well-meaning. Most people are well-meaning, right? Anyway, we've got some valuable resources here. A lot of good partners that we work with and refer people back and forth to. And you don't have to be a runner to understand how the body works and that the runner wants to run. But specifically, I mean, there are some clinics in town where the therapist is a runner. They've been injured. They dealt with the things you've dealt with, and they know the road back. And they understand where I'm coming from. And so if we're working together with the same person, it's pretty cohesive.
Yeah.
So there are resources.
Cool. So currently, at this moment, we are 2 workouts into 3 workouts of the day. Alex
Yes.
and I need to get rolling here. But number one, I definitely have some ideas of some more stuff that we could do together. I don't know if it's necessarily another episode, but
Part
some other
1B.
some other stuff talking about, I think, getting into the nitty-gritty of like how the body's made to run.
Sure.
I think you can definitely look forward to that. The other thing, I just want you to give like a quick 1 sentence. You do a lot of running groups and
Yep.
help people get going. Where can people find information about that?
So fleetfeetdavenport.com. There's a little tab, training or /training if you don't want to click a button. We probably do a better job with Facebook and Instagram than the website, so you can check those things. They're pretty fluid. We've got an email list that you can subscribe to and find out about that stuff.
Cool.
You bet.
Sweet.
All right.
Hit him
Thanks,
up.
my man.
Fleet Feet
Great.
Sports, Davenport.
Thank
Elmer
you,
Avenue.
guys.
Thank you very much. Catch you later.